Hey Siri, start recording. Is it working now? How's it going, everyone? This is Precisely Podcast, a podcast about beer and video games, and today it will also be about toys that we grew up on. I'm your host, Bo, and with me, as always, we got Tenacious Tony.
That's right. It's your boy, Tony P. We really out here getting it. And we also got Kelly Kel with us.
What up, Kelly Cow?
Yeah, you can call me Coronavirus Kelly.
Oh,
right
yeah?
now. Getting over that head cold.
Corona with a K, that is.
K-Rona.
I love it. Great start. Thank you, Siri, for helping us with the recording. So, yeah, we're here. We got 3 awesome dank beers from the Alchemist Brewery
The dankest.
out in Vermont, the place that you have to wait like an hour just to get a 4-pack of beer. It's insane. You've been there before, right?
Not Alchemist. I went to Treehouse.
Okay, but it's like the
Same thing.
setup
Yeah.
in the sense.
Well, I mean, I can't speak for Alchemist, but yeah, it was like an hour and 15 minutes to buy beer.
Yeah, so my boy Ian Hooker, Mr. Hooks on Instagram, he's a skier. He was up there skiing with some friends, and he picked up a bunch of beer and brought over a 4-pack for us, like he always does, like a nice guy. So thank you, Ian. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I think 2 of the beers that we're going to drink tonight we've already talked about on the podcast, but one of them will be new. But they're dank beers, so we got to drink them, right?
Hell yeah.
We have to. We are legally obligated at this point.
Legally, I mean, the
It's
first
in the
one's already
contract.
poured, so let's do it. So what is the first one, Tone?
First one is Focal Banger. It's a 7% New England style IPA. And what do you guys think of it?
It smells like weed.
Dude, I can't smell anything. Also can't taste anything, but it tastes great to that. And I'm pretty sure I liked it the first time we had this one.
It's
So-
really good.
I'm going to go off that.
It's thick. It's a thick boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
3
it's a
C's
good-
at least.
It's a good
I'm
IPA, I
thick.
think.
The aftertaste is a little weird.
I can taste the aftertaste.
It's very strong aftertaste, like almost like a.
It's
I hate
it's
to say.
planty.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but like a chemical cleaning agent, but like not in a bad way.
It's like Pine Sol if
Yeah.
Pine Sol had a taste, because I don't usually drink Pine Sol
What do they say about it? What is it? A double IPA?
that's made with Pine Sol.
It's an American IPA, hopped judiciously with Citra and Mosaic.
That's it.
That's all. Yep.
Yeah, it tastes strong. What's the percent on it?
I think this is a 7, right?
7%.
Oh man, it tastes stronger. I'm sure I probably said that when we drank this last time, but it's good. I like it. It's a sipping beer though.
It's definitely super piney on the tail end.
Yeah.
Is what I'm getting. I mean, I
Strong.
can't taste much on the front end of it, but the back end, it's sitting like on the roof of my mouth.
Yeah. I can dig it. I like the occasional beer that you can't just like pound, that's too easy to drink, or that you're like, oh, this is so good, I need to keep drinking it, Like this is like a sip and relax. Tastes like a 10% to me, honestly. So that's cool.
Yeah, I agree.
What have you guys been up to in the past week or 2?
The usual. Just
Did you
maxing
talk?
and relax. Yeah, I mean, just chilling, working. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, same. Working, catching up on TV shows, actually.
Yeah, it's a
This
good
past
time to
week,
do that. Yeah, nice. And well, it hasn't been too cold here recently, but winter is a good time to catch up on all the stuff you've missed out on.
Yeah. Tony, I saw you were mountain biking the other day.
Yeah, I've been out riding. Finally, decent weather. And spring is right around the corner.
Do any spills? You fall?
No, I didn't.
Nice. Pump
Nothing
those
memorable,
tires
at
up.
least. Huh?
Pump those tires up.
Yeah,
He's
Do
out
some,
there ripping it.
Some bunny hops.
always.
Some dirt grinds.
Hell yeah.
Some hill slides.
Dude, I'm always out there shredding.
The Nar has
you-
bid shred.
Are you in the gravel pit, motherfucker? I love it. Are you
Yeah.
recording it with the
No.
GoPro?
Not all of it, no.
Oh man, I'd always have that just in case that one time like something epic happens.
Yeah, that's why I bought it.
Yeah.
That one time I crashed really bad and no one else saw it.
Ooh.
I wanted to have. I wish someone
But you
else
didn't
would've
have
saw
the
it.
GoPro then.
Yeah, I bought it like the next week.
Oh
after
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I would always have that on you, man. No matter what.
They sell those writing cameras. Scott has some for your, when you're out on the road and stuff for basically insurance purposes.
Yeah.
Somebody just tries to be a dick to you on the road, but he takes them out when he goes on, and it's funny because he'll be like, "Oh, look at this squirrel that I almost ran over," or like, look at this
Yeah.
dog that was chasing me for like a mile, down this land or something. It's cool to see that kind of stuff.
Man, if I had one of those cameras in my truck the other day, last weekend, I was like pulling into a giant grocery store, and I don't know if I was like on edge or whatever. It was early in the morning, but this gray grocery bag like rolled by in the wind, and I freaked out thinking it was like this big gray bunny rabbit that was about to like get ran over by my tires. And Kayla, my wife, was with me, and she was like, "Are you serious?" I was like, like swerved the tires, and she's like, "That was the grocery bag." I'm
The
like,
grocery bag.
I
blew
realized
by.
that halfway through my screaming.
And then you all of a sudden hear Katy Perry asking you if you ever feel like a plastic bag.
Oh yeah. I don't know that song, but yes, I felt her saying that completely to me. So I wanted to do a really slight wrap up of Dreams. I played it a bit after our podcast recording, our last one, where we did it live. I dived a little deep into creating my own levels, and it's hard, but it's informative and it's nice. It teaches you a lot. It's just a lot of time, and I eventually, like halfway through creating something, I was just like, I'm done. Like, I really don't have the time for it. Like, I wish I had this type of game when I was like 14 or 15 years old, when I had time, because I feel like I'd be a game designer now. So for all the young teens out there that have more time than us adults, like, hopefully this makes you guys creative, in a video game aspect way, be an artist with all these tools that Dreams has given you. But right now it's just like we were saying, it's sort of like meme central of trash. Like, the games aren't that great.
That's what I figured
Yeah.
that was going to happen. It was just going to be that, like, shit posting.
I think they
kind
need
of
to
vibe.
have like a certain way to be like, no, you can't post this if it's not good.
Well, I don't
But
think.
who's the judge of
right,
that?
I was going to say, I don't think they want that because they want you as the whole gamer group who has purchased Dreams to do whatever your heart tells you, essentially.
Yeah, and art is subjective.
Right. And to have that freedom, and that's the whole point of Dreams, is you have the freedom to do whatever the hell you want, which is awesome. And I think, people are just going to make stupid shit and it's going to be funny, but I think that's going to be most of it. You're not going to see highly made intense gaming coming from Dreams.
Yeah.
I never thought that was going to be the play out. There might be, a handful. And I think it's just going to kind of be like, The Sims, where everybody expected people to make the perfect whatever, and instead they're just digging a pool and not putting a ladder in.
Yeah. Just burning the house down without any doors.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, Dreams is definitely going to be coming out on the PS5, and supposedly it's going to come out to the PC, which, if there's cross-play with that, I think a lot of PC people that get Dreams will actually be able to use it better, per se, than people with the PlayStation.
Yeah, I think the PC could be the link between the people who actually give a shit about what they're making, and you can get some good things coming from that.
It might be able to make it quicker.
Right. Well, yeah, obviously, because they'll have the, the mouse and the keyboard
Yeah.
capabilities. But yeah, I could see the Dreams being more successful in the point that it was trying to be via the PC rather than a console.
Yeah. I keep getting, like, our buddy Game Bow, another Bow on Instagram. Shout out to you.
2-point bow.
Yeah, 2-point Bow. He messaged me last night or 2 nights ago about Simpsons Hit and Run being on Dreams. Like someone recreated that, and I haven't tried it yet, but I'm like, the still image of it, it looks like it. It looks like a hacked version of Simpsons Hit and Run, like a nice like 3D model version, like upgraded graphics since that came out on the PS2 and GameCube. But I'm sure it doesn't play like it. I'm sure the tires don't rotate or whatever. Like, and maybe it does, but that's the thing. That's all the headlines for Dreams is like, oh, someone made Halo. Oh, someone made Crash Bandicoot. Someone made Mario 64. But really, once you get into it, it's not that game at all. The sprites, yeah, they look similar. The backgrounds look similar, but it does not play like it at all. And that's the difference, like you got actual people that are getting paid to make these games for Nintendo and PlayStation, and then you got people Dreams that just bought a $40 game that's like, yeah, I got 6 hours to try to make Crash Bandicoot level.
Well, and that's the other thing is that Dreams and I can't even remember the company that made it, but the people that are creating
Media Molecule.
Okay, the people that are making it, they basically can't say, okay, we've made a game that basically allows you to clone any game. They can't be like, okay, we're going to give you all of the mechanics to essentially make all of these games all over again. I'm sure there's some sort of like, legality or something that they have to be like, we're not going to include all of this stuff so you can basically just make all these games over again.
I think it's more so the physics engine isn't the same as, Need for Speed or, or a Mario game. Like Mario physics are like on point. Like exactly if you press this button and that button next to a wall, what Mario's going to do. Whereas Dreams, it's just like, yeah, you might go through that wall halfway and jump off of it later.
Maybe.
But that's it. I'm looking forward to seeing what Dreams has later down the line, but I don't think I'm going to turn it back on anytime soon. How about you, Tony? Did you buy it?
No, I didn't. You texted me the other day, or we talked, and you told me it wasn't all that great, so I was kind of glad I didn't go impulse buy it.
Yeah. I'll go back. I feel like there's great potential. It's just not there yet. There's nothing there yet to go back to. And I'm not a game designer. As much as I want to think that I can be, I don't have the time right now or the dedication. Like right now, if I have an hour to play a video game, that's what I want to do. I don't want to try to design one in an hour.
Fair.
Yeah.
I get that. I think that's where that game could falter, I think. We talked about how it has a lot of playability, but I think when it comes to the making, there's a lot of people out there who aren't going to want to put the time that it takes to actually make a game into it. So
yeah,
I think that's where Dreams is going to lose a lot of the players that it could have had.
Yeah, and I think our whole live viewing of it on the last podcast, we were just like excited about it. Like the whole menu system and how it's laid out is really cool.
It's very cool. It's a cool game. Don't get me wrong.
But literally what we saw on that first screen of like the top games and stuff, that's been the top games for a while. Like nothing's really changing there. Like there's no new features and stuff. So
I was saying, I was thinking, when this game gets to an under $20 price point was when I was probably going to buy it.
Yeah.
That's about where I see myself with it. It's cool, but I just don't think it's going to be a game that I'm going to spend more than that on.
And I think $40 is fine, but really it's not. Like I'm glad it's not a $60 game. Otherwise nobody would be on it. But I think in the first week only like 5,000 people bought it. So it's going to be a rare game. Either way, they might pull it from shelves.
I don't know. They pumped it pretty hard, so it's kind of weird that they would, that's how it would end. But whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah. So I got refunded finally for that PSP that I bought and returned. Yep.
How did that go?
It was a little struggle, but it got back to the Ukraine. Ukraine guy refunded me. Got money back in my PayPal account and my credit card account because I split it, I guess, at the time. And my PayPal account, I bought new PSP games with, so that was cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool. Right on.
That's the news with me.
Cool. Tone, any news?
Nope.
All right.
No news is good news.
You want to get to the games we played before we get to our main topic?
Let's do it.
What have you been playing, Kelly?
I've been playing a lot of Lego Jurassic World on the Switch.
Is that a new Switch
Well, it's relatively new. So they had it, this Lego Jurassic World came out, I think probably around the time Jurassic World came out. On the Xbox and the 3DS and the PS3, PS4, that kind of stuff. So I had played it on 3DS and they just ported it to Switch last month, I think. And I picked it up because I'm a sucker for the Lego games and I'm not ashamed to say that at all. They are one of my favorite kinds of games. I grew up playing Lego Star Wars with my sister and my friends. So, I've always been a big fan of those kind, but basically at this point I'll play any Lego game just because I like the mechanics of it. It's, basically like a platformer where you're collecting and you're unlocking, and that's the kind of thing I like. And then it's following, pop culture movies and stories, Batman and Marvel.
The last one I played was a Marvel one for a little bit, and it wasn't mine. I don't believe I played it somewhere else, but I was like, this is a good game.
They're fun. And the thing is that, when I started playing them when I was a kid, it was easy to latch onto. So now playing it, you can play it with your kids or kids that you are around, I guess, like cousins and nieces and nephews and things like that. Honestly, I played it with my friend who doesn't play video games, and she bought it with her husband because that's how he's a police officer and he has to stay up when he's switching shifts. So he plays video games.
Oh, nice.
To stay up. And she was like, well, when he's switching shifts, I want to be able to hang out with him. So she's like, I got to learn to play video games. And so she bought Lego Batman and she really enjoyed it. So I played Lego Batman with her, and it was like the first game we played together where we could both like understand what was happening.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good game, like an introductory game.
It's a simple game, but it's still challenging.
Right.
I felt like.
And it's like, there's plenty to do. That's the other thing is like, there's so much to do that I'm the person who wants to 100% complete things. In Lego games, there's a lot to unlock. So for me to get 100% on it takes a while to sit there and go through all these levels and stuff. And, I have the Lego Harry Potter. I still haven't 100% of that because I've been playing it with my sister mostly because she loves it. But, it's a really fun game, and I'm enjoying the Jurassic Park one a lot. Again, I played it on the 3DS, like I said, but
So are the dinosaurs Lego?
Yeah, everything is Lego.
I guess, yeah.
The only difference is like the older ones I liked better because there wasn't dialogue, and now they put the movie dialogue over the Legos, which I don't like that as much.
Like voice acting.
Yeah,
and stuff,
I don't like that, but whatever. I wish Lego would just go back to like in the first Lego Star Wars, it was just like them like grunting and groaning. They'll be like, and that was it. That was the dialogue.
Yeah.
But now it's like the full movie dialogue, and it's like, I don't really have time for this. I don't want to hear it again. It doesn't match. It's a Lego.
It is a Lego. I don't feel like Lego should have voices.
Exactly.
But
they should just kind of
you make
exist.
up the voices.
Right. Exactly. I think the best part of it was you were inferring the storyline from the actions they were doing.
You can have text base.
Well, there was no text.
Oh,
it was
really?
just like the actions. Like,
That's cool too, yeah.
It was like they were telling the story, but it was through the actions of the characters. There was no text. There was no except like the stuff that I said, like grunting.
It's all in your head.
You're like, oh, here's whatever Darth Vader, and they'd give him like little breathing noises, but other than that, like he wasn't saying anything. Like you had to infer what was happening from what he was doing on the screen.
I love it.
So yeah, no, I highly recommend the Lego Jurassic Park. That's what I've been playing a lot, and I want to get that beat, I think.
Cool.
On the Switch soon. So that's fun.
How far are you?
I've been playing it at night before I go to bed, so I'm still on the first movie right now. I think I'm probably in like either the middle or the middle end of the first movie.
Are you playing it in bed?
Yeah, I play handheld mode.
So do you play it in bed, like lying down or propped up?
I mean, I'm usually propped up. I don't like to play laying down.
See, I play Game Boy and PSP lying down, and man, I drop them all the time.
Dude, I
on my
can't do
nose.
that.
And I'm scared to bring a Switch into bed. 'Cause
My
I'm like,
hands,
that will break
my hands
nose.
hurt if I hold it up too
Yeah.
long. I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
I
like
prop myself.
my elbows hurt eventually. After
I
a
prop
while.
myself,
Yeah.
and then or I'll like roll to my side and like
Yeah,
play
I
it
do
on
the
my
a
side.
little bit, yeah.
That's how I play my handhelds. But yeah, no, it's a great game, and I recommend it definitely.
Tony, you play any games in bed?
Not really. I usually will like watch like shows maybe before bed on my phone, or
He takes the physical copy of Call of Duty to bed with him every night, tucks it in,
I know how his like
Kisses a
apartment's
good
set
night.
up, and like literally, it would only take two mirrors, I think, for him to take the PlayStation controller into bed and him be able to see the living room TV, right? Like it would only take 2 mirrors of bouncing it back.
If I had a couple more mirrors, we could probably make it work.
You have 2 mirrors now.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of
We're
setting
gonna
them
start a
up right.
GoFundMe for Tony's mirrors,
Yeah, let's do it.
so he can play Call
No,
of
that
Duty
would
in
be
bed.
bad news. I'm not a fan of TVs in the bedroom
Use
or
that
anything.
hot dog fund money.
Oh my god! Break
Soggy
into that.
buns, Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you've been playing Call of Duty. I played some rounds with you.
Yeah, I've been playing Search and Destroy more,
I hate that.
which is pretty. It's cool to change it up and play a little more.
Do you know Search and Destroy,
tactical.
Kelly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you search and destroy.
Well, you only have one life, right?
Yeah, well, there's
Yeah.
another game mode that's real similar to it called Cyber Attack, and you can revive your teammates. But I don't know.
Oh.
Search and Destroy is just like OG.
Yeah. I don't like it. It's like a lot of snipers and people like camping, I feel like.
Yeah, you just gotta play tactically. So if you have to camp and wait to hear footsteps to win, I mean that's what you gotta do.
Yeah. I just, to me, Call of Duty is running around and throwing smoke grenades until people get really upset at you,
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
No, I had a lot of fun playing with you guys. I changed up my name, my Activision name to you remember what it is?
Fish yogurt.
Yo, Fish Yogurt, what up? It's me.
That's the worst name I've ever
Yes.
heard, and also like the most vomit-inducing
Yeah,
thought
repulsive.
I could have.
Yeah, that's what everyone said.
Well, after Bo changed his name, my other friend changed his name to OJ and toothpaste.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad too.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna go like O.J. Simpson when I
Nah,
was
nah,
like
nah.
OJ's glove.
Yeah,
Yeah,
OJ's
OJ's
glove. Cool. OJ's glove. It's not me.
That's a good one, actually.
It doesn't fit.
the white Bronco.
Yeah.
It's your Activision name now.
White brown. I love
That's
it.
actually good.
Yeah. So I'm Fish Yogurt. What up? And when I was playing with you guys, I wasn't doing so good. Tony's like always leading the pack. He's phenomenal. But
Thanks.
the next day, I hit up Tony. I was like, "Yo, you want to play?" He's like, "I ain't feeling it tonight." I'm like, "All
Dude, I haven't
right."
been playing that much.
I'm like, "You must be sick. That's fine." Or he just
Dude, he's got the coronavirus.
or he doesn't want to play with me.
Or he's got
you
the
know?
coronavirus.
He's like, Bo sucks. Fish Yogurt's not that good. And sure enough, I was killing it. I was on the top like 2 games in a row before I shut it off. And I was like, yeah, maybe Tony.
Yeah, you did good, bro.
Yeah, maybe Tony just like brings me down, you know? Like
Possibly.
he's so good that you can never get to the top while playing with him.
I don't
okay.
know about that.
He's killing everyone before you even see him.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, I was doing good. I'm enjoying it more and more. It's a really good Call of Duty game, and now I learned how to like do hardcore. I actually like the core games, like shooting people more. And like
What do you mean? Like what specific
like
game
core,
modes? Or what?
like core to hardcore.
Yeah.
Like you guys all just play hardcore.
I
where it's like-
I play core too, but the other guys don't.
Yeah, I'm fine with core. Like, I like being able to see if someone doesn't have a silencer on their gun. I like being able to see where they are and finding
Yeah.
them. You know, and I like being able to take more than like 2 shots without dying
Yeah.
and being able to run away real quick and then firing back and killing them.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely have to adapt your play styles, I think. And that's
Absolutely.
why it's been more fun to play Search and Destroy, because it's like not just run and gun like I'm used to.
yeah, so Search and Destroy, are you doing that in hardcore?
Both. I mean,
Okay.
I play, honestly, just whatever. And
Yeah, so-
whoever I'm playing with, I'll play whatever they want.
We should do more just like core battles, because
Yeah.
I think I'd do better in that. I think that's what I sent you a picture of, was like a core battle that I was
Yeah,
on the
anytime,
top.
bro.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Minus the other night when I hit you up.
Except for when I'm not. If it's after 8 o'clock, I'm probably not playing Call of Duty.
Okay.
He's already in bed.
Just about.
Well, it's funny because I like the other night I hit him up at 8:30. And he's like, "Yeah, one game," and then sure enough, it was like 6 games later. I was
Well,
like,
you
"All
could
right,
never
I gotta
just
go to
play
bed."
one game. That's the thing.
Well, we
you
were
could
getting
say one game, but you'll
angry
never
at the other
be-
team members.
True.
Like they were being racist and wrong, and like,
racism on Call of Duty?
and,
Unheard
like
of.
they're like being like anti-American. Like they were, but they were like super American. I don't want to get into politics on this podcast.
There were some Southern boys, and we were just clowning them.
Yeah,
Oh. Hmm.
we were calling them out. They're hypocritical of themselves.
Interesting.
Yes. Besides Call of Duty, though, you play anything else, Tony?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I beat Celeste, and it felt good. It's a great game. I will keep recommending that to anyone else. I tried playing something else, similar, ukulele and the Impossible Lair. I went back to that, and I was just lost in it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going back to Celeste because there's so many different stuff that you can unlock in Celeste, and there's a B-sides to each chapter. So you can find a B-sides tape that's hidden in the chapter, and it tells you like what part of the chapter it's hidden in. So I went back and got a bunch of B-sides, finished that chapter, and started the B-sides. And dude, the B-sides is insane, crazy. But it's crazy like going back to these old chapters and being like, wow, I'm so much better now. Like I'm dying so much less. I'm getting past this one part so much easier because this is just all second nature to me now. So might go back to it more, but really just been playing the PSP a lot, I feel like, and actually Donkey Kong Land 2 that you gave me.
Yeah, you did text me that one day.
Yeah.
You're like, this game is fun.
It is fun.
I know.
For like an original Game Boy game.
It's a great fucking game.
It is.
It's just bottom line.
Like I love Tropical Freeze. That was like the first Donkey Kong game that like really like I was like, wow, Donkey Kong's good. Like you guys ever like play a game or like disregard a game for some reason because you're like, oh, it's just not me by the looks of it. But then you start playing it and you're like, actually, this is really good.
See, and that's the thing is like,
because that's how Donkey Kong was.
I
for me.
understand where you're saying that, but like when I picture Donkey Kong and how like the games you like to play and how you play, I picture that as like the game, your game at the core is Donkey Kong, and that because that's how I am too. Like the game that I wish all games were like is Donkey Kong.
Yeah,
and it just nothing compares to that style.
It's a hardcore platformer.
It is, and that's why I think you'd like that. That's why I thought you'd like that game.
Yeah,
is because it is just this amazing platformer, and it was for the Game Boy, and it was so early on, and there was so much to do.
Yeah.
Like it's a great game.
Yeah. So I've never. I think I don't own Donkey Kong Country 2 or 3 on the Super Nintendo. I think I played them a couple times at like a friend's house, but I own Donkey Kong Country, and Tony and I have played that in the past and like got pretty far in it, but the damn mine carts kept killing us over and over again, and we're just like, we can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
So like I never beat Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo. And then Tropical Freeze, you know, with the wife, I was able to like almost 100% that. And that was amazing. But we were able to manipulate lives a little bit and like sort of make it easier, even though it wasn't at all easy.
So for life manipulation in this one,
Life manipulation's easy on this.
I was gonna say, even as a
find lives
kid,
like
it was
crazy.
I would just go back and run through that first level,
Yeah.
and there was like 6 different ways
Yep.
to get lives,
Yeah.
and you know I'd come out with like 40 lives and be set.
Yeah.
But this game is just it's basically
It's open worldish, the levels too. Like
kind of, but it's basically Donkey Kong Country 2.
yeah.
So if you play that and Donkey Kong Land 2, it's very similar. Like it's not an exact clone, but I think there's like a couple differences, but it's pretty much the same game.
Yeah.
So when you play that on the Super Nintendo, it's very similar, and you'll already have it kind of under your belt with this one.
Yeah. So I got past the first world. I think I might be on the last level of the first world, but like to me that was like a little open worldy in the sense of like you can go left, you can go right, you can go up, you can
With the
go
ropes.
down. Yeah, it's all
Yep.
the ropes, yeah. And there's so many different like secrets, like not only like the KONG, but there's secret barrels that you can find, there's extra bananas and stuff. Like I'm really enjoying it for an original Game Boy game.
And like,
I'm playing on a Game Boy
Yeah.
Color with a backlit screen, which that's the only way I can play Game Boy games is backlit nowadays or frontlit. But the sprites are like brown Donkey Kongs and, well, you're Diddy Kong, I guess, in this.
Diddy and Dixie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything else, the background and the enemies are just like a gray and black, black and white characters. So it's just brown and black, essentially.
Yeah,
but
not.
It works
it's
fine.
Not good.
Like,
yeah.
I would not be able to play it on the original hardware. I would not be able to see what I was doing.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time leaning into that wormlight on that game. The cool thing about it is the KONG and stuff. Like, it doesn't matter if you get it or not. Like, there's not like a check mark on the level.
Life or what?
Yeah, you just get an extra life at the end of it, so you can seek it out if you want.
Yeah.
Or you could just be like, never mind.
It seems pretty plentiful with the lives.
Right, and and the animal coins too.
Yeah.
Finding the animal coins and things like that. And I think the only thing that you really want to focus on getting is like the banana coins or the DK coins, because you can actually trade those in for like, I think it's like saves and like checkpoints or something like that when you get further on. But yeah, those are the only two things that really matter. But it was good. It's a good game.
It is a good game.
Highly recommend.
The only other game I've been diving in a little bit is called Jean d'Arc. Joan of Arc, but it's Jean d'Arc. It's for the PSP.
Excuse us Americans
French.
over here as we try to make French pronunciations.
Yeah, it's not Joan of Arc, it's Jean d'Arc.
But
it's like a play on words, but it's for the PSP. It's a tactical RPG, but after every battle and before every battle, there's these like beautiful animated cutscenes where, I don't know, the PSP to me is just so beautiful.
It's a good system.
Everything about this system is amazing. It's like the perfect retro like system where you get these cool animations that like you're watching like a Japanese anime. And then you're playing like a really cool like upgraded 32-bit graphics, but really it's like N64 PS1 graphics, but handheld. I just love it. But only like started that and really enjoying the game. The cutscenes are almost a little bit too much and too long, but really enjoying it. It's like a little hidden gem on the PSP. It's JEANNED ''ARC.
I believe it would be
Jean.
No, because it would be French. It would be Jean d'Arc.
Yeah, it's a
ha, croissant baguette and all those things.
Dynamite cat.
Le dynamite cup. Hold on. No, I French is the one language I did not latch onto very well.
Yeah.
So I apologize.
Oh, cool. Any other games that you guys played, or you want to get into the topic?
Let's get into topic because I'm just amped.
All right, welcome back, everyone. So we just cracked open our second beer from the Alchemist, and it is called Alina.
It is a 7.7% American IPA.
Brewed with Summit, and I already forgot, Columbus. Yes, hops.
Yeah, the Columbus hops are also followed up by the Nina and the Pinta and the Santa Maria hops.
Wow, good one.
I was thinking on that as soon as you read that earlier. I was like, ooh, I got a zinger for that.
Love it. This beer is better to me. This is less bitters at the end. smoother. I think I enjoy West Coast IPAs more, like American IPAs, whereas the last one was like a hazier IPA. But was definitely bitter for a hazy IPA. This is a cool can too. It's a light blue can with green hops all over it.
You know, I would be amiss if I did not mention that can lightly reminds me of little Animal Crossing leaves on a blue background.
There you go.
And there's the Animal Crossing plug for this if you are playing Precisely Bingo.
Yep. And I said Dynamite Cop already too, so we're good.
We got it, and you've got your free space, so there's
Tony
at least
said Call of Duty at least.
You should be right on your way by now.
Yep. There you go. So yeah, our topic that I mentioned earlier on our Instagram post. If you guys aren't following us yet on Instagram, it's at Precisely Podcasts. But it's about toys. What were the toys that we grew up in? Grew up on. Or
you could have grown up in, because
if
there's
you're
a
very
fair
small kid,
there is a fair amount of times I squeezed myself into my Fisher-Price dollhouse.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There's literally a picture that my mom took of my sister and I playing, and she is quite literally inside of the dollhouse, and I'm sitting on the outside.
That's amazing.
Just hanging out. So if you are like that weirdo, like I am, and my sister was, you might have grown up inside of your toys. And for that, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I've definitely built some Lego castles around me where I was the dragon of the castle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like a little small barrier wall, around me.
But when you brought this topic up to us, I was pretty stoked because I feel like toys related into TV shows and movies growing up, and then also video games.
Just like culture.
Yeah, because, there were so many of these toys that also had video games, or, vice versa. Like, it was everything tied in together, and you could just have this little world of whatever toy you liked in surrounding you, essentially.
Yeah.
It was a good time to grow up.
So before we get into the toys that we collected or played with, what's like some of the early memories from you guys, like going into a toy store? What's like the number one toy store that you remember going into?
Toys R Us and KB Toys.
Yeah.
Those were the two on my head, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I remember vividly going to the KB Toys in the mall.
Colonial Park.
Yep. I can visualize it right now where
on
it
the
was.
Left side.
Yep, on the left side.
Auntie On's was like up to the right.
Yeah.
What?
Auntie On's.
Auntie On's.
He's high class when he goes to the mall. He doesn't go to Annie Ann's.
Auntie
On's. Can I have a pretzel, please?
Oh my god.
Just don't talk ever, basically, or we're gonna make fun of you.
I'll have your finest pretzel bites.
Can I have one of those hot dogs wrapped in a pretzel? No cinnamon sugar. All right, sorry. Anyway, but that one, and then they had one.
Auntie On's.
They had a KB Toys up where the Office Max and stuff was.
I remember that.
You remember that one? Where the
Plaza.
Hobby Lobby is now, and the Olive Garden and the Pier 1 and all that shit off 22. Do you remember that plaza?
There used to be a movie theater there.
Yep,
There's a
the
Starbucks.
AMC.
Whatever, Five Guys is there.
Oh, yeah,
that one.
I know
there
that
used to be
area.
a KB Toys
Was there?
there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I got a lot of. Actually,
That's
honestly,
where I got my first Razor scooter.
Oh, we can talk about those again.
I think my first Razor scooter, I spent a real pretty penny at Fishbone. It was like $120.
What? I thought they were like $30.
Yeah, they were.
Dude,
I don't remember.
I got mine for Christmas. I know that.
Dumb expensive.
Yeah, no, I remember that one specifically, going in and buying my copy of Donkey Kong Country for Game Boy Color from that KB Toys.
I remember
I got
KB
in like a bin.
Toys. It was a small store, but literally they used like floor to ceiling
so
everything,
much shit in there.
Where it was like that one action figure could be like 20 feet up in the air to the left, and you're like, get me that guy up there.
Yeah, the thing was, you could walk in there and be like, yes,
So
a toy store,
overwhelming.
but that was just like Toy Story to the max.
Yeah.
But and then the Toys R Us, I always thought the best part about the Toys R Us now, as I'm older, looking back at it, the Toys R Us is right next to the prison.
What does that have to do with anything?
I just thought that was funny growing up. Like, you know.
okay.
Well,
like,
you know what's even funnier is they put a movie theater there named The Great Escape.
Right. No, that is funny now. But, you know, after I was
never
old
thought of
enough,
that.
I was like, I went and bought all of my toys growing up right next to the county prison.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's cool. All right, good memories.
Like the prisoners were like making the GI Joes.
Yeah.
Lego
That's
sets.
yeah, you know, as I was like 13, I was imagining like these prisoners just sitting across from a Toys R Us like, man, I wish I could go in there.
That was like Costco for toys for kids.
Yeah, that place is banging though. I love Toys R Us.
Yeah.
But that one was a good one too.
What I loved about Toys R Us is that you could get on a bicycle or scooter and literally go down every lane. Like the lanes were that wide.
I got my first like real bike at that Toys R Us. And
A mongoose.
no, I will give you each
Huffy.
one. No, I will.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna say I will give you each one guess of what my very first bike that I picked out was at 6 years old. I think probably 6. And
Barbie?
it was a character. It was not Barbie.
Okay.
Scooby Doo.
No.
All right, one
Both
more
good
guess.
guesses though.
One more guess
One more.
because it's my first bike. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No.
Uh,
Spice Girls.
what?
Oh, that's sick.
Dude, the thing was lit. I was riding this. Listen, it was a bright blue with like a metallic finish.
Yeah.
It had like pink lettering down the side, said Spice.
Did it have like the little like the
Tassels.
It had
tassels on
metallic
them? Yeah.
tassels. The tires were white,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Gotta have the white tires.
and the cream of it all. It came with a see-through mini pink backpack on the front
Hell yeah.
with a portable radio.
Like a
Hell
fanny
yeah.
bag.
No, like those mini backpacks. Like girls had in the 90s.
Yeah.
It was like a clear mini backpack with the
With
Spice
a
Girls on it with
speaker.
no, it was a removable portable radio in it.
Wow.
Yeah. That bike was tight, except that I had to ride it until I was about 13 or 14 years old.
Not tight anymore.
Not tight at that
Spice
point.
Girls were already broken up by then.
Oh, they were long gone. They were David Beckham'd out by that point.
Ooh.
Oof.
What was your first bike, Tony? Being our biker and enthusiast.
Oh man, I honestly don't even know what brand it was. I remember it was a small little purple one.
But it was just like a
His was Spice Girls too. He just wasn't
regular bike. Because I remember mine was TMNT.
Yeah, it was pretty much a regular bike.
Okay.
Chain yard. It didn't have any of the tassels or anything.
Yeah.
I've had so many bikes now thinking back.
Did you have the training wheels though on your bike?
On my first one, when
Yeah.
I was
On the
like,
Spice Girls.
no,
No.
see,
that wasn't the first one.
no, the first one I got like
Okay.
at a yard sale, and my mom was like, "This is how you're gonna learn to ride a bike,"
Yeah,
and it
mine
was like,
from my neighbors.
yeah, it had training wheels and it had like little things on the spokes, so when you rode it, it like clacked around.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But then, as soon as I learned to take the training wheels off, she was like, "You can pick your own bike." That was like the motivator to learn
Yeah.
how to. And of course, I was like, "Oh, Spice Girls," because that's all I wanted to think about. And
I don't
There we have
remember
it.
my second bike.
my second bike was like a legit, like, you know, mountain bike with like gears and stuff. Because this was just like you turned the pedals backward to brake. There were no handbrakes or anything.
I had those gyros.
Yeah.
So you could like spin the handlebars and stuff without the cords getting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ah, fancy.
All right. Either way, it's not about bikes. It's about toys.
Well, a bike is a toy.
It is, I guess.
I
yeah.
bought it at a toy store. That's why we got on that. Sorry.
Do you
to
remember
derail.
putting like a playing card in the bike spokes?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
if you, or like a Coca-Cola can, a drink can you could use too.
Oh, really?
I didn't
If
do
you
that.
run over it and it would like pinch onto the tire and then it gets caught up at the top. And
That just sounds
Huh.
like you're gonna break something.
Yeah.
no, it didn't.
All right.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, I did the playing card a couple times, but I never did the soda can.
Yeah.
We would do all kinds of shit.
Oh. Well, the bike was a means of transportation, hardcore. Like that was
Yeah.
The
that was
bike gave you freedom as
Absolutely.
a kid to go explore farther than you could ever explore on your little legs.
But see, here's the thing: is the other thing was I grew up on the side of a mountain, essentially.
Oh.
So I biked a lot. Don't get me wrong; I rode my bike everywhere, but it was a pain.
Yeah, I bet.
It was a pain.
If I'm going down this hill, I gotta come
I
back
gotta
up
come,
this
and there
hill,
was
yeah.
always one big hill. Like I could go down and then eventually like work my way up to like where my friends lived and stuff, and it
Yeah.
wasn't that bad. But that hill to come back to my own house was just
It's too
it
much.
sucked.
Too much.
But it was good. It was a good time. I liked biking a lot in my neighborhood. All right, well, toys.
Yeah, so, you know, the first toy that I have that I don't remember how I got these. I almost think that they were hand-me-downs because I don't remember ever asking for any of them at a store, but I loved them so much. G.I. Joes. Like the original 1980s G.I. Joes with the rubber band inside the waist where you could twist them around and they would spin real fast if you like twisted the rubber band.
And then they'd snap.
Yeah, the rubber band would eventually snap.
Yeah.
But absolutely loved them. Like I must have got them from an older cousin or a family friend or something. But I had a bunch of them. And the little helmets, the guns, everything.
Yeah, the vehicles and stuff.
The vehicles that shot out things. Like back then, you know, if anything shot something out of itself,
I would lose it immediately.
I would lose it and I'd be amazed by it all the time because that gave you that interaction that you never got from, like, it was like your imagination exploding with an actual physical thing, you know. Absolutely loved it. Did you have G.I. Joes, anyone?
I didn't. I feel like we're gonna
G.I. Janes.
I'm gonna feel like we're gonna differ on a lot of different toys, but at the same time, like I agree, a lot of my toys were hand-me-downs, from like cousins or neighbors or whatever. Like I remember like my grandparents having a set of like a box of toys I played with at their houses, like kind of thing. So there was like separate toys for separate places.
Yep.
So like I didn't have G.I. Joes. But, like, there were a lot of toys like that where, like, I don't know where I got these from, but I definitely played with them kind of thing. So, I didn't have G.I. Joes. Tone, did you have them?
Yeah, G.I. Joes.
Yeah? Did you have, like,
and
a
the
ton?
small guys, right?
The little 3.75
the
inch.
army guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
The green ones, yeah.
Nice. That's good.
And the wrestlers.
Oh, you had a lot of wrestlers?
Not a lot, but
WWF ones?
Yeah.
And someone mentioned that. The wrestlers on the podcast
He-Man
page.
action figures. Let's just put action figures in one group.
Okay, well, we'll talk action figures first. All right, He-Man. Did you have He-Mans?
I did not have He-Man.
I didn't have He-Mans. Did
They
you have
were the
She-Ra?
best.
I didn't have
What's She-Ra?
She-Ra was like the female component of He-Man.
Power
No.
Rangers.
Power Rangers.
I had a few Power Rangers, but not as many as other kids. I remember seeing Power Rangers where, like, what were the vehicles that they
The
drove?
Megazords.
Yeah, and then you could, like, combine all 5 of them.
Right, that's how you made the Megazord. Yeah.
I remember a neighbor having that and being like, "Ugh, it's so big." Like, it's
But it
so,
was, though.
Yeah, it was ginormous. I was just like, I'll never get this. You know?
Transformers.
Well, you're skipping it. I didn't even get to put my 2 cents in on the Power Rangers, dude.
I thought we were still doing that.
Well, I mean, yeah, but
All right, I apologize.
I was going to throw him.
wasn't
I
trying to
had
shut
Power
you down,
Rangers,
but-
so I had a couple, like, little action figures, but there was a dude I knew, like, you know, growing up that he had, like, he was mad obsessed with Power Rangers, and he had like every Power Ranger ever. And I remember going over to his house and playing, and he'd have like all of the communicators and the Zords and all this stuff, and he'd be like, and this is so and so Zord and whatever. And I would just like, I liked the ones where you could flip their heads around.
Yes.
Do you remember those?
Yes,
you could flip the helmet to the regular head. I love those. They were the best. Out of all the Power Ranger action figures, those were my favorite to play with because I don't know why, but I just liked it. And I watched the show, so it's not like I didn't
watched the show.
know what they were.
I think the show came on right after school.
Yeah,
so
probably.
It's like a half an hour after you got home. It was like Power Rangers.
Yeah. Power Rangers, so good.
Yeah, so good.
Love it. All right, so now we can go on Transformers.
Well, no, back to Power Rangers.
No!
Real quick. Not action figures, but do you guys remember how like gloves were a big thing?
Yes, I remember the gloves. Yes.
I had the red gloves. And you could like click them in. I think I've talked about this on a previous podcast, but you could like click a button inside with your thumbs and pointer fingers and be like, "Hoo, ha, hoo, ah,
yep.
ah, yeah."
I remember those.
Like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
That's the guitar solo. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I remember those, and you could like you had the gloves, and like I was saying, you put like the little communicator watch on, and like you'd be like beep boop beep. Let's call in all the Megazords.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Transformers.
Transformers.
I was just saying I had
Oh, you were just-
Transformers.
I love Transformers.
I didn't. I don't think I had any. I remember maybe playing with them sometimes, but I don't think I ever owned any Transformers. I mean, I remember a lot of people were saying Transformers on the Instagram page that they played with. Like Retro Gamer from Day Zero was saying he had a lot of them, and he still has some of his original ones, which is cool. Like
Yeah,
that people can get that.
Triple Transformers too.
I don't know.
Which I didn't realize that was a thing. Like, what's it? So you're
Third
like
form.
a robot, you're
A car.
a vehicle, and then what? Like a school teacher or something? Like, what are you? What is the third one? What could it be?
School teacher.
I don't know. Like, what is it? Like a butterfly or something? Like,
Yes, it's exactly it. You know what? It
maybe
probably
it is an
probably
animal.
was an animal.
Yeah.
There was one that went. There was like something that went into an animal. That might be Beast Wars. Was that Beast Wars?
Might have been.
Regardless, you might be onto something. Yeah, but yeah. Who else said? Somebody else said about Transformers. There was a couple people that were talking about them, but those were definitely like I remember. Like a lot of people having those.
So one of my earliest memories of Transformers, I think when I first got introduced to Transformers, and this shows how bad of a kid I was back in the day, but going to preschool or kindergarten, and on my first day, they had Transformers, and I loved them so much that I took one home with me.
Oh.
And my mom was like, "Where did you get this?" And I'm like, someone gave it to me, and my mom was like, "Nobody gave it to you. Like, you took this from the school." And I admitted
You're a
it,
jerk.
and I had to, tell my teachers the next day and give it back, and it sucked because all I wanted was to have it for myself.
man. Dang.
Dang is right.
Dang. Any other action figures, Town, you can think of off the top of your head?
Oh,
No.
I can.
Okay.
So, action figures, like, later in my life, I got really into Spawn characters. You guys know Spawn?
I didn't do Spawn, but I know what it is.
So it's
yeah.
a comic book character that was, like, evil, like the devil himself.
Yeah. It was like kind of spooky.
Yeah, like mass and like monsters and
It's like kind of gory, wasn't it?
they were big. They were like the big G.I. Joe characters. Probably like maybe like 10 inches to a foot.
Yeah,
in
they were
height.
like 8 to 10 inch
Had
characters.
like body armor. Do you remember Guar? The band
Yes.
Guar. It was like that, but as action figures.
Yeah,
almost.
I think I know.
But I'm
what you
pretty
mean.
sure Spawn came before Guar, so
Yes.
Guar came off of. Do you?
That might be a good question. Look that up on Google while I talk about it.
All right.
But so my parents owned these designer stores at the Camp Hill Mall, and I grew up at the Camp Hill Mall as a kid. Like,
Oh, do you remember Zany Brainy before we get too far into this? That used to be the shit.
no,
That was like a toy store in the Camp Hill Mall.
Oh yeah, maybe yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, there was a comic book store in the Camp Hill Mall, and I think my dad would always feel bad. Like, we didn't have much money growing up, but my dad would always feel bad about me like being at the store all day, that he would like give me like $20 like here and there to be like, go down to the comic book store, like pick out a character that you want, like an action figure. And for some reason I was drawn to these Spawn characters. I'm not a comic book fan, like hardly read any comic books growing up, but yet I love these Spawn characters. And I think it was like something that was older than me as a kid, and I was like drawn to that, being older than I actually was. And I collected all these Spawn characters, and I remember this one that had like a whole like skeletal system that you could put on him, so he looked like this dinosaur, like the skeleton dinosaur, but he was Spawn but with a skeleton exterior. And he had like this backbone rib cage with a long tail. They look crazy. And I remember dropping it while walking back to my parents' store and being like, oh, where is it? And I ran back and I found it on the ground, and it was there. And it looks like do you know Prometheus?
Yeah.
The movie Prometheus,
Yeah.
and how those alien things like come out of the shells and go onto the people's face.
Yeah.
That's what this thing was that I dropped. And I pick it up, and there's like a family like walking by me, and I just start petting it while walking back to my parents'
You're
store.
terrifying.
And they're like, ugh, because it's like this little monster that I'm petting.
No,
But yeah, absolutely
terrifying.
loved them. I had so many of them, have no idea what happened to them. Like, my sister bought my parents' house when she was old enough, and I think they threw away all my toys, honestly.
Aw, That's sad. Well, I have an answer to your question.
Yeah, sure.
Gwar did come before Spawn.
Yeah, I thought so.
1984, and Spawn was 92.
Okay.
I
that
thought
makes sense.
I thought Gwar was a little more into the 90s. I thought like maybe 90, but I was wrong.
Yeah. Either way, it was that whole, like 90s, just like,
Gory
yeah, Satan.
horror vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's good. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, I didn't play with that as a guy. It was not for me as a kid, but like I know what Spawn is, and I have seen the characters, and they look pretty nifty now.
Yeah.
Action figures for me, I would think a lot of the action figures I played with was when I went to my cousin's house. He was a little bit younger than I was, but he always had like a lot of Street Sharks. I remember playing Street Sharks.
Oh my God, Street Sharks, yes.
Yeah. I remember playing with those a lot.
They were like big
mouths
sharks
on like bodies.
Human bodies.
Yeah, like ripped human
With
bodies.
abs, yeah,
Yeah. They were like ripped giant
Remember
shark
Street
heads.
Sharks?
No, I don't remember that.
Big old shark heads.
They were huge shark heads with these big teeth, and then like these
They're
little
like
action
bodybuilders, though.
action figure bodybuilder bodies in
They
like
had-
ripped t-shirts
They
and
had
stuff.
those, and then they had like puppets of the Street Sharks
Yes.
as well that
Yeah.
I had growing
Yeah,
up.
he had
Where it
both.
had like two arms coming out, and you would put them in, and you could talk with them, and it was like their abs were like down by your forearm.
They had those Jurassic Park ones too. Those were cool. Those little dinosaur puppets.
Yes,
I liked
remember
those
that.
a lot too growing up.
I actually have a story about Jurassic Park action figures.
Okay, go for it.
All right. So we were at a lake with my cousin's family. My cousin's like a few years older than me. I've talked about him before. Trey. How's it going, Trey? I actually had
What's
to
up,
ask
Trey?
him about this. I was like, what was that action figure it was? It was Dr. Grant.
Oh,
He had this Dr. Grant character that he wouldn't let me play with. And I was like, yo, let me have it. Let me see it. And finally I snagged it out of his hand, and we were at this lake. So we're like on the shore of this
no.
lake. And as soon as I got it out of his hand, I just chucked it as
No!
hard as I could into the lake.
Dr.
And
Grant.
he just like went into tears. Like I must have been like 7 and he was like 9 or 10. And he's just like, how could you? And I'm just like, fuck you. Like as a
Dude,
7-year-old.
you were an asshole.
I was. But that was like the worst thing I did as a kid, honestly.
That was
At that age.
That would make me cry.
Yeah, I was mean.
Like as an
And
adult, just thinking about that.
So I remember I had to like use my allowance for like mowing the grass to buy him another Dr. Grant toy and give it to him like a week later.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's my story of
It's your Jurassic
Park
story.
toys. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you play with the Ghostbusters toys at all? I had a couple
I don't
Ghostbusters.
think I had any. Yeah, Tony?
You had a couple?
Yeah, I had the car, and I had action figures for that. I'm
I
pretty
had
sure,
about
too.
I think I had about 3 action figures, but they were, one of those ones I had gotten hand-me-downs of, and I don't think I realized that they were Ghostbusters until I was older. Like I just thought they were like little dudes. Like, and I just didn't know, and then I realized what the Ghostbusters logo was and figured it out when I was older. But like I just remember as a kid I had like 3 Ghostbusters just randomly in with all my toys. I don't know. I used to have like plastic bins of toys, like those
Yeah.
little Rubbermaid totes of my toys, stored in a cabinet. And when I was little, I don't know. I guess I just didn't have the vocabulary to say like action figures or toys
Yeah.
or whatever. So I would just call them my guys.
Nice.
So my parents, even to this day, still call like the box of toys that they have at the house the guys.
That's
you
cute.
know, so it was like this box of guys,
Yeah.
and it was like, there were Ghostbusters in there, and there were Disney characters, and there was Happy Meal toys, and it was
Yeah.
like literally everything in like these Rubbermaid totes just all together. Like I just threw it all together because when I played with it, it was all played with like all of
Yeah.
my toys were played with together. Like I didn't just play one thing. I played like 6 things at once.
And I think that's what a lot of kids did growing up. Like, you didn't have like a full battalion of stormtroopers. You
No.
had one stormtrooper, you had Darth Vader, and maybe you had Luke. so you brought in
Then you
GI Joes,
and then you
with
bring in the
that.
Dalmatians,
Yeah,
and they're hanging out
exactly,
on the side, like whatever.
And then you just waged a giant war. You
Yeah.
know?
Did
Well,
you
I
have
mean,
Star Wars toys?
Yeah. I
Like
had
the
a bunch.
Millennium or
I didn't have any of the big
yeah, the Millennium
ships,
Falcon.
but I remember having one of the like stormtrooper like land
speeder bikes.
speeder bikes, yeah, with like the speeder bike stormtrooper suits.
cool.
I might have had a Boba Fett bike if he had a bike.
He didn't have a bike. He had a ship.
Yeah, he did have a ship, so maybe I didn't have that, but I do remember having Boba Fett.
I didn't have any Star Wars toys when I was little, but the first Star Wars movie I did see was Episode 1 when it came out. I was in like 3rd grade, so I remember seeing it, getting obsessed with that movie, and that's where it all started. And then going to the KB Toys by Office Max and buying like a set of it was like the Episode 1 like Jedi set, and I got rid of it a long time ago, but then I recently rebought it because that was like the toy that like, you know, stuck in my mind. But it was like these little figures, and they were on stands. So there was a little Qui-Gon Jinn, and a little Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then I think Darth Maul, and then a battle droid. Yeah. And then there was a background. It came with a background. So they were like in the starship hangar kind of thing. And so they were all, you know, in a pose, and they all had these little lightsabers coming off, and they were little plastic lightsabers. And I remember like having them on the shelf in my room and having them set up in like, you know, they're fighting and here's the background or whatever. And my sister is 4 years younger than I am, would come in my room and start playing with them. And you'd be like, no, don't touch those. You know, those are my Star Wars toys kind of thing. And she broke every freaking lightsaber on those motherfuckers. I swear to God, I was so mad. Every single one had to be glued back on, and I was like, every time. I just remember getting so upset, just being like, this keeps happening, and I'm trying not to, and I don't know what else to do. I'm just being like 10 years old and frustrated, and like,
your sister was younger than you?
Yeah, she's 4 years younger than I am.
Yeah,
so it was like sense. A good difference there of like, you know, where we were. And I was just like, stop touching my stuff. But, you know, I got it back recently, and it's just like, it's so cool to be able to be in that place where you can be like, I remember that toy that made a really big impact on me, and you find it on eBay and you buy it and you're like, wow, here it is.
Now I just want to keep it nice, not touch it.
Right. Yeah.
Being an adult about it.
Yeah. Well, and that's how I was trying to do it before too. That's the thing is like, I wasn't like having a lightsaber battle or anything. I was like, yeah. And then I'd put them all back nice in a position like they were pretending to fight. Exactly. And then she'd come in and be like, and then all of the lightsabers were broken. But yeah, those were my only Star Wars figures. I didn't have any like the Kenner figures or anything like that.
Tony? Star Wars wise?
I don't know. I had a bunch. I had probably Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Luke, Obi-Wan, Millennium Falcon. I don't know what else.
What were the little guys that
Ewoks?
Were they Ewoks?
The little teddy bear guys?
No, not the teddy bears. The guys with the hoods.
Jawas.
I
mean, like how Tony looks right now.
Yeah, how he looks right now. Tony has a hood.
He has a hood up right now.
So the Jawas, I had 2 of them, and they were 2 different sizes actually. Like one was shorter than the other, but they were shorter than all the characters of Star Wars because they're shorter characters. They're
small character.
But I remember their eyes being like a see-through orange, and if you like held them to the light or like by a window, you could like see through their eyes. Or, like they would shine through, and I was like, that's so cool. I loved them so much.
Dope.
No, I never had an Ewok action figure, but those would have been cool too. I love the Ewoks.
Yeah, I had a bunch of them. I don't know.
Nice.
Not a bunch of Ewoks, but just a bunch of
a bunch of Star Wars
characters.
Absolutely.
Sweet. I guess the only like when we think about action figures, like you guys are saying, like G.I. Joes and whatever, but like for action figures, for me, like I was saying, I had a ton of like PVC figures, like Disney figures, stuff like that. Like not necessarily like a posable action figure.
Like ones that didn't move their arms.
Yeah, they were just like, you know,
solid
like here's Aladdin or whatever, you know. And I was growing up, I was like,
I didn't like those as much.
I was 100% Disney though. And like I had some that would move, but a lot of mine were like just figures.
Yeah.
And then it was like kind of like you just did whatever with them. But like I know I had a ton of Disney like figures because that's where like that's what I loved. I loved Lion King, I loved Aladdin, I loved Beauty and the Beast when I was young. Those things were coming out. And that was it, I was into, you guys probably weren't into princesses that much.
No, but I had
an
an
older
old
sister. So.
Yeah, I had an older sister.
Yeah, you had sisters. So I mean, you had a little bit of it, but that's kind of like where my household was. It was just the two of us and all of our Disney toys.
Yeah.
So that was a lot.
So
of
you
it.
mentioned McDonald's toys. I didn't even put that on my list, but like that was a huge thing.
It was
collecting the next McDonald's toy thing. Does McDonald's even do that anymore?
They do toys. But
Okay.
the thing is, when I got McDonald's toys and stuff like that, and it wasn't just McDonald's. You had McDonald's, you had Hardee's, you had Wendy's, Burger King.
I feel like McDonald's had the best though.
But so my parents, we didn't really eat a lot of fast food when I was a kid.
Yeah, same.
It was like, every once in a while you can get a Frosty and French fries from Wendy's. But I would get a lot of like Happy Meal toys in a hand-me-down kind of situation. Or like if, my mom's friend or neighbors or whatever had extras, like they already had that toy, we got it kind of thing.
Yeah,
so I had a ton of like weird Happy Meal toys that I had inherited somehow. But I loved them. They were like super fun.
They were so good.
Yeah.
Even though they were so bad.
Yes.
I know Nintendo Rose wrote something.
Yeah,
about
she was
Happy
saying
Meal
she
toys.
had the
She
101 Dalmatians set or something like that.
Yeah, she said
That was a good one.
Oh, I have so many favorite toys. To name a few, Pogs, the 100 Dalmatians, and from McDonald's that I still have now and pass them to my daughter. And I also had Care Bears, Teddy's. My favorite was Grumpy.
The Care Bears. I had a couple Care Bears toys.
I remember the show more than I remember the toys, and maybe it's because I was a boy.
Right.
So I'm a boy, just so everyone knows.
Whoa. Whoa. Wild. Don't assume anybody's gender anymore.
I'm actually a Care Bear.
If you lift up his shirt, he's got a little video game controller on his stomach.
It's just a big belly button. If you squint with one of your eyes, it looks like a Nintendo controller.
Oh my god.
Looks like a giant A button.
He's Nintendo Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had like some of the little figures, like they were like this big and they had, you can move their arms and legs. But as I got older, they came out with like a re-release of the stuffed animals in like probably the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And my sister kind of hopped on that one more than I did. So she had a lot of those re-released like stuffed bears and stuff, but I remember playing with the little figures more than the stuffed animals at that point. But
Do you guys remember Tickle Me Elmo?
yeah, I didn't have one though.
Do you remember how crazy that was? That people were like getting trampled and stuff to get Tickle Me Elmo when it first came out, because it came out during the Christmas season.
Yeah.
And it sold out everywhere, and
ridiculous.
Walmart would be like, we got 10 of them, and then there'd be like 100 people looking for it and like literally punching people in the face for it. Yeah.
Video game collecting.
It's insane.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I never had one though. I think I was too old at that point for a Tickle Me Elmo when it came out.
Yeah, I was too. What about Furbies? Did you guys have a Furby?
I did not have one.
I think I might have had one.
I had a black Furby.
Oh god, they're terrifying.
It was terrifying. It was such a hype thing back then. It was like everyone needed it, and then as soon as we got it, we were like, why?
I don't want it. I don't want it anymore.
Why do we want this? And then there was conspiracy theories that China made these things to listen to Americans.
I love that.
Isn't that crazy?
I love
it.
So Furby, and it kind of leads to one that I was thinking of, kind of kickstarted the electronic pet phenomenon in a way. And I don't know if you remember these, they were called Poochies. Poo-chi. It was a little dog.
Robot dog?
Yeah.
Oh, did it do flips and
stuff?
Yes,
Yeah. It was made by Tiger
that.
Electronics.
Yeah.
I had one and I love the shit out of that thing. And I swear to God, if I ever see it, I will buy it again. But
I thought you were going to say you'd kick the shit out of it.
No, I love that because I always wanted a dog.
Get
So
away from me, Pidgey.
God damn it, Poochie, stop peeing on the rug.
Yeah.
I always wanted a dog, so when they came out these electronic dogs and I wasn't allowed to have a dog, I was like, yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
I'm getting it. And you had the little bone, you could like feed it and it would like yip and like do flips and shit like that.
Yeah.
It was cool.
That was a thing of its
It was cool. Yeah. And then they had the Tamagotchis. Did you have a Tamagotchi?
I was just about to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I love Tamagotchis.
I still have my original Tamagotchi at my house.
I was actually searching Tamagotchis like a couple months ago, thinking that I wanted to buy a Tamagotchi, and
Like an original one.
Yeah, and then I was like, why? Like I started like really doing a lot of research because they make new ones now. That are, like,
I was gonna say they
like
make
color screen,
a new
like,
one.
I think backlit, like, and I'm like, why? Like I love toys, but no, do I really need this? No. I don't need
my original one.
I don't need to take care of a digital thing when I'm hardly taking care of myself. No.
Yeah, I remember my sister and I got them for Christmas, and she got this white one,
I loved
white little egg, and I got this like see-through red egg, and I still have both of them.
That's awesome.
And that's the thing is
Do they
like
still work?
Yeah, they just need new batteries. But yeah, like that's the thing is there's a lot of these toys that had such a meaning to them for me that I held on to them. It's kind of the same way with my video games. I was like, I really love this toy and it made a lot of memories with me, so I'm going to keep it. And it's not like because I'm going to have kids and want to hand it down because I don't want kids. Like I'm not handing it to anybody. No, I'm going to keep it for myself for my own sentimental reasons.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of stuff like that. Like I still have one of my original Barbies from when I was a kid. Like I got rid of it. We had a ton of Barbies between my sister and I, but there was one that I got from my aunt. It's probably one of the first Barbies I got in the 90s, and she was like, she had the bendable arms and legs, like, because not all Barbies you could bend their joints.
Oh.
So they were like rubber arms and legs, and you could just move them up and down. But this Barbie, you could like move, her elbows and her kneecaps and stuff like that.
Wave.
Yeah. But
wave
she also
Barbie.
the wave Barbie, but she came with rollerblades and like this cool like multicolored, one piece suit thing.
Sexy Barbie.
So, not really. She's roller skating Barbie.
Okay.
And she was rad as fuck, man. Like she was just like, but when you look at this Barbie, it's just like quintessential 90s. It's like the colors and everything. But that Barbie was like one of my first ones, and like I just really loved that specific Barbie more than other ones. So I kept that one and like her little duffel bag with her roller skates and shit. And it was just like that kind of stuff. It's just like, that was that one toy that really started a lot of things for me, or like I really love to play with more, so I kept it kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was important. Like I had like a small box of those little toys that meant a lot. So that was one of the ones I kept. And I know, a couple of the girls on the Instagram page were saying they were playing with Barbies a lot, Rose, I think, and Amy and V-Pixels. I don't remember who else. I thought somebody else said something about Barbies, but that was a lot of my time was like Barbies too. And it wasn't just straight up Barbies. Like I said, like I'd be building a house for my Barbies out of Tinker Toys or Lincoln Logs or something.
Tinker Toys and Linker Logs.
Linker Logs.
Wow. Lincoln Logs. Yeah.
I played with those a lot.
Linker Logs.
With my like action figures and stuff like that. I would build houses and stuff, and they'd live in there, and a compound of different places, and my whole living room would be covered in them.
We got a free range chicken farm over here. We got our vegan vegetable patch.
Yeah, that's exactly how I played with my toys. They got our GMO free.
Our pot farms over here.
Yep, absolutely. Got to get our hemp.
I love it. Do you guys remember Stretch Armstrong at all?
I didn't have one, but
I didn't have one either, but I remember my neighbor had one, and man, I would take one arm and he would take the other arm, and we would go.
You would stretch?
We would go 20
what?
feet. We would stretch the hell out of Stretch Armstrong. Like, what else are you supposed to do with them? It's like, how far can we go? Such a simple idea.
Oh, that was fun. That was a good toy. There were a lot of those like stretchy, weird toys after him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of
He
those
had like
weird
villains
ones.
too that
Yeah.
you could stretch, and it's just like, how are you guys even fighting? You know,
They're
like
just
all
stretchy.
you're doing is stretching. Who can stretch more? Like,
That's how they fight.
Is that how you win? I don't know.
That's how you fight. Just you can stretch them more.
So yeah, I was at a craft store the other day. Might have been AC Moore or something.
Was it going out of business? Because it's
yeah,
AC Moore.
Yeah, it was going out of business, and I saw Stretch Armstrong there, and I was like, wow, they brought it back, and they brought back like a bunch of retro toys.
Huh.
Like, what was that one like metal thing that you could put your face into it, and it would show the impression of your face? It was like a bunch of metal pins.
Oh yeah, those like little.
You
I don't know what they're
I'm
called, but
we all know
yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
What
you
is
put your
that called?
hand in it.
Yeah.
I don't know what
or
it's
like
called.
they had
but-
the Etch-a-Sketch and stuff, you know, or
Yeah.
the Light Bright. I was like,
oh damn!
this
I
is
played
cool,
the hell
yeah.
out of a light bright. Yeah.
Like, that's cool that they're bringing it back, and it's like retro packaging and stuff. I'm like, that's cool. Like, I didn't realize this was coming back, but at the same time, AC Moore is closing. But
I'm
with
sure it's
that,
probably elsewhere, but yeah.
with that, like, craft stores was like a big part of me getting toys because
Yeah.
my mom was always at craft stores and taking me there,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd be like, well, I need a toy if you're getting whatever you're getting, you know,
I
like,
need
I
it.
need a toy, and they had toys.
They did. I got a lot of those like little animal figures from like AC Moore
Yeah.
when I would go with my mom.
I would get Pogs like crazy.
Oh
from
my
craft stores.
god!
Can we talk about Pogs?
Yeah, let's talk about Pogs.
Probably the
'Cause
cheapest thing that,
I got
they
so
made,
much toys.
that anyone
Pog
made.
toys there.
and yet we loved them. They were before like card collecting, even though baseball cards were out. Pokemon cards weren't out yet.
No, it was like the prerequisite basically to
Yeah.
Pokemon card trading.
And everything
remember
was unique.
I remember Pogs. I remember going to an AC Moore and a huge bin of Pogs and just looking through and picking the ones I wanted. I still have my Pogs.
I don't.
I do. It's great. I had Pogs from Media Play.
Oh, Media Play.
Media Play.
Media Play was
God
crazy.
damn, I love that store.
Media Play was cool. I got some cool DVDs from Media Play.
I love that store so
Bum
much.
Fights was one of them. You can't sell bum fights on eBay. I've tried before.
Oh,
They don't promote violence of
okay.
bums anymore.
Violence of Bums. Interesting.
But yeah, Pogs. I remember the slammers that I had.
Oh my god.
Because the slammers were more unique than the Pogs themselves. The thick pieces of metal that were like cut out as like little
Yeah.
like flames or like
I
like,
had
shooting
a
stars.
I had a slammer, and I remember it vividly. And I think I was probably like 5 years old, 4 or 5 when the Pogs thing was happening. I was young, and I had a friend, and he and I would collect Pogs and stuff. And the one time I traded him something for something else, and then he borrowed my slammer, and I never got it back. And I can picture the slammer to this day. It was like this see-through green, like plastic.
Yep.
And it had a little toucan that was like juggling on the top of it. And it was so cool. And I never got it back. And I can't find it
So
anywhere.
Pogs was like the like marbles.
So it
of,
was,
of the 90s
so-
essentially, or jacks.
yeah, Pogs actually was a game back in the early 1900s. It was called Milk Caps or any kind of different thing like that. It basically started out of Hawaii.
Oh, cool.
And
I didn't realize that.
yeah, they played that a lot, and I think Pog stood for like the juice caps you would originally like they would play with, which was like peach, orange, and guava or something like that. And so they would have these caps and they'd play the game with them. And then there was a teacher in Hawaii in 1992 or something like that was like trying to teach their kids, a game to play at recess kind of thing. Like, we're not playing dodgeball anymore. Let's play this game that we play on the island.
All the kids just stood around during recess before this teacher came around and was like, actually, let's do something instead of just standing around.
No, I think they were trying to promote like a non-violent recess game.
Yeah,
like,
dodgeball is horrible.
Dodgeball is next level. But so I can't remember who it was, promoted this milk cap game. And so then they were playing this milk caps, and then eventually it caught on where there was a company that started marketing, making pogs, like making
They're so cool.
the designs on the top, and then you've got these artists that were doing it, and these, they had like Power Ranger pogs and like, Disney pogs and like all these different artists and different characters on these
sparkly
cool,
metallic
yes,
ones.
they were so pretty.
But they were just cardboard cutout pieces.
It was probably the cheapest thing to make money off
that's
of
what
at
I'm
that
saying.
point.
Like cheaper than cards even.
Yeah. It was ridiculous.
And they were all so unique, and you could trade them at school,
Yep.
You'd
Traded
have
a
a
lot.
pocket full of pogs. But you would never see like two of the same pogs, honestly.
Yeah.
That was the craziest part, is that like everything was so unique when it came to pogs.
Yeah, I don't think I ever had two of the same.
Yeah.
Pogs were so good though. That was definitely something I played a lot of.
Oh, back to Furbies real quick. I had a Yoda Furby that acted exactly like a Furby, but it had arms, it had a lightsaber. You had to turn it upside down while holding both of its hands to turn it off. And like literally every night for a week, this motherfucker would come on at like 3 a.m. and be like, "Oh, young Jedi!"
Oh no!
And I'm like, ah! Like as a kid, I would freak out.
Dude, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, until like I think my mom was like, "All right, we're just gonna throw it out." like even with the batteries out, it's still turning on.
Oh no! I don't even remember them making a Yoda Furby.
Yeah. It came with like a mini lightsaber for you,
cute.
and you could like wave the lightsaber in front of him, and he would tell you that you're doing a good job or not. Like,
you fucking suck.
Yeah. You ain't no fucking Luke. That's for sure.
That is not how Yoda talks. First of all.
Well, you just did it that way too.
Well, I didn't give him a southern accent.
All right. How about Mighty Max and Polly Pocket?
I didn't have Mighty Max, but friends had Polly Pockets, and I played with those a lot.
Did you have any Mighty Max, Tony?
I don't think so.
They were like really miniature figures.
And you had a little play set.
Really, yeah. So like they would come in like a skull or like a snake, and it was like a clamshell that you opened up, and it was like this little Mighty Max like kid with all these monsters that you could like move around in like torture chambers and stuff. It was really cool.
Oh,
but then
chambers.
Oh yeah.
Torture chambers in the Polly Pockets too. Can't confirm.
No, and then Polly Pockets was like the Barbie version of it.
You've got like malls and houses, and there's
Stores.
furniture. And
I remember that.
Yeah, you get that. You can make them like sit or stand, and the figures are this big, and you lose them in the laundry, and whole thing.
Lose them real quick.
Whole thing. Yeah, those are fun though. I remember playing with a lot of Polly Pocket.
Beyblades. Do you guys remember that?
I was on the way out of Beyblades, but yeah, I remember them. They're tops.
Basically a top.
Yeah, tops.
You could customize and battle it.
Yeah,
you,
let it rip.
You let it rip.
Let it rip.
Yeah, no, I remembered that. Never owned any of them.
I think I had
you
one.
like battled them. Right?
Yeah, it was like whoever stopped first or something.
Was there like
no, they beat the shit out of each other? Usually.
Was there like an arena that you could buy for them? So that came out after Crossfire.
Oh god, I love Crossfire.
Dude.
Crossfire!
That is literally one of the best games.
Right?
Can
we get a Crossfire
Yes,
board?
dude, they sell them at Target.
Do they really?
Yes, I will buy a Crossfire and we can all fucking play.
I get an original one. Honestly.
I mean, it's basically the same thing. It's like one of those retro packaging things. But regardless, I would buy the shit out of a Crossfire and take any one of you motherfuckers on.
All right, we'll see about that.
That shit was sick.
That was the best board game ever.
And it wasn't a board game.
It was just like you
Crossfire.
launching metal balls at each
it was
other.
Hungry Hungry Hippos.
But aggressive.
With metal balls.
Well, I can't say that because Hungry Hungry Hippos was aggressive.
Yeah, that was aggressive.
That was aggressive.
So.
Yeah.
There was a lot of aggressive
games. Yes. Yeah.
I'd love to do a board game episode, though. But yeah, so what was the tops called?
Beyblades.
Let it rip.
Let it rip.
There was a cartoon about that then?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And then I think there might have been like Game Boy games.
There's
Game
a
Boy
couple.
Advance
There's a
games.
couple of video games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I was at
Beyblades.
the tail end of that. I think I was like,
B-E-Y?
yep, B-E-Y.
I don't remember how it was spelled.
Sounds
But you could like
gay
customize
blades.
them and shit, and we would like trade parts for them. Fucking
B-A-E
sick, dude.
blades. You're my Beyblade.
Babe. Blades.
Yeah, I think I was like in like 6th grade when this came out or something.
That's cool though.
I don't remember, but
Yeah,
I
it's
remember
cool
having
shit,
one.
dude.
You got any?
Yeah, he has them all at his house. Like he has 30 of them. He has an
I just
army.
remember standing around this circle with all my friends, or like on some nice smooth piece of concrete and just letting it rip.
What would
We were
you
just
say? Would you
fucking
say anything?
ripping.
Would you be like,
He would say, "Let it rip." Obviously,
I don't remember.
like,
That's
Beyblade,
cheesy.
go.
That's cool.
it wasn't like Pokemon.
No, it'd be like, oh, look at how fast I can rip this thing.
Yeah. Like, rip it hard.
Rip it. Oh my god.
Did you ever buy stuff from the 50-cent machine outside the grocery store?
Yeah, the sticky hands.
Sticky
fucking
hands, yeah.
Sticky hands. Yeah.
Little tattoos.
Yep. Stickers.
Do you remember the little homies?
I had a couple little homies. Yeah.
Little homies were like these,
Juan.
Yeah.
one,
Any more?
And one more time.
And one more time.
Yeah, there was like cholos, and then there was like some hood dudes.
Yeah, they were like all hood dudes.
Yeah.
For the most part. I
There's
mean,
a
there
couple
was like
chicks.
there was like nerdy guys and stuff.
There's definitely some Puerto Rican mommies in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a couple.
But
think
they
I
were
had one of
called
those.
little homies, and they were all so unique.
Yeah, they were cool.
They remind me of like what Shenmue is, and
With his
going-
little capsule toys.
Yeah, going to the capsule toy machines and spending your money on that and be like, oh, do I have this one yet or not? Like, I probably had like 20 of them.
Oh, I only had like 5 or something.
I
but
think, once I got like my first double, I was like, I'm done buying these. Like I was like so ashamed. I'm like, there's like 150 of them and I got
I've
a double already.
got a
Yeah.
double.
So done with it. But then I remember like getting these little ninjas that were like the same
Yes.
thing.
Yep, I had those
Little
too.
colorful ninjas that like just held different weapons.
Mhm. Yeah, I had those. I had like an orange one and
Yeah.
a purple one
Yeah.
and a green one, I think. Yeah. I didn't get to use the 50-cent machine often, but when I did,
I made sure
I
had
got the
50
good
cents,
shit. Well, I wasn't always allowed to get a toy whenever we went somewhere. I wasn't a spoiled brat.
Yeah,
Are you trying to say something?
I
No,
wasn't
I'm just
that
kidding.
privileged.
Yeah.
I wasn't
just to be
privileged
throwing
either.
around 50 cents here
Yeah,
and there.
anyway.
All
All
right, guys.
willy-nilly.
All right, willy-nilly. All right, so we haven't talked about one of my favorite toys growing up.
I think I know what you're going to say, and it's also one of mine. Go ahead.
Legos.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was my...
That's a given, I think.
That was my shit. And honestly, it still is. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, you've been to my house. I don't know if you looked in Scott's office, but there's a fuck ton of Legos in my
No.
house. There is a lot of Legos.
No, all my Legos got thrown away at some point too. And
I know my box of Legos is at my parents' house because I moved it when they were moving, and they said, "Do you want this?" And I said, "Yes, I do, but I don't know where I'm going to put it yet
Yeah.
because I had just moved." So they were like, "We'll just move it, and then you can have it."
that's the thing kids say all the time to their parents after they moved out of the house. Yes, I want that, but I don't have room for it right
Yeah,
now.
I physically moved it, so I know it's there.
I will
but-
want that. So keep it, but I don't have room.
But
What
yeah,
I say is, can I keep this here for a little?
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, the Legos, I remember playing with those a lot. I had a lot of the Lego Harry Potter sets growing up because I was real into Harry Potter. Before that, I had just a lot of like the regular bricks. We had like a soccer field set or like a soccer bus or something like that. I had like a robot set.
Soccer mom.
Yeah, soccer mom.
Got that minivan.
It wasn't
That
a
sliding door.
It wasn't a minivan. It was like a soccer like team with a van.
All right.
And then there was this one
Not
that
as exciting.
there was this one that like I had when I was young, and it was like an island theme. It was like a beach. Like
Okay.
the base plate was a beach. Like there was water and then there was sand.
Yeah.
And then they had like a little cabana and like some palm trees
Oh.
and a
Fancy.
little lounge chair and an umbrella and stuff like that. Like I don't remember what that system or whatever it was called, but that was one of my favorite sets because it was so colorful.
Yeah. I
It was
remember
really
getting
cool.
some really big sets like when I got older and more into Legos. Like my parents were certain that I was going to be an architect with how much I built out of Legos, and like after I built the main thing, I would take it apart and then build something new with it.
Yeah.
But like one of my favorites that I remember was like a Robin Hood set. That was
Oh.
like really old school. Like I don't even know if it was called Robin Hood because of the rights for Robin Hood.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
It might have, because they had
Yeah.
like Lone Ranger and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it might have been
have
Robin
had
Hood, yeah.
Robin Hood.
But I remember him having like a little green hood, you know, like sort of like Link and stuff, and like a vine that he could swing on. There's a big tree and like a fort, and it might have been a fort in the tree house. Or I
That's
don't know,
super
but
cool.
yeah, loved it, man. I love Lego so much. Had a big castle, and I remember the castle having a torture chamber too.
So put the torture chambers in the 90s, man.
Yo, they didn't care.
They didn't give a fuck. Everybody's getting tortured.
Everyone was.
Um.
Even the skeletons. I think that's.
Oh, I
what
like
was
the
it.
skeletons.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the Lego
I don't
skeletons.
think they have skeletons anymore in Legos.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
sad. I feel like that's a defining moment.
Right?
I remember, spending a lot of time, especially as I got older, just piecing together Lego houses and things like that, because it's something so calming about building Lego.
Yeah.
It's definitely, and even now, like I said, there's a ton of Lego in my house. One of the things I ever did with Scott as like a date was like we went on a date, and then we went out to dinner, and we went to Target afterwards, and we were like walking around just like killing time. And he was like, we talked about like how we like Legos and stuff, like playing with Legos when we were kids, and how he was like, oh, I love building Legos still now, like big sets and stuff like that, like the Star Wars ships and things like that. And he was like, well, we're buying Lego sets so we can build them this weekend when we hang out. And this was like our second or third date. And I was like, oh, this guy's legit. Like, so we bought like Lego ships to build over that weekend.
Really cool.
So, I mean, that's something that we do still to this day together is like, and like 2 weeks ago, he sat down and built a Lego space station or something. Like, he's really always on the Lego website looking for the next
good for you, Scott.
thing that he wants to get. Like, he's definitely, he's good. He loves it. And I do too. It's just something that you can just sit down and kind of like
it is calming.
Ease yourself.
Yeah. My niece just got into Legos, and she showed me her first like Lego set, which I was just like, this is not a Lego set. Like it's like a circle with like different sections of different colored Legos, and like it's like, oh, pick one out of the red, pick one out of the yellow box, pick one out of the green box, make an apple,
Huh.
It's like, nah. So I bought her this Lego set that is like, the Lego characters now are different, or at least
They're
like
a little bit.
Yeah, they're like taller. They're lankier.
The
Or it
like
might
the
be,
Lego
like-
girls
Yeah, it might be a
sets
Lego girl
are because
set, yeah.
my cousin's
Okay.
daughter, I have bought her some of those
So
too.
yeah, I got her one of those where it's like a van looking for stray cats, and you build like a little tree with a cat in the tree,
Oh.
and she has a ladder and a van, and she goes and searches for this cat in a tree.
Cool.
But like my niece was loving it. She's like, "How are you doing this so quick?" And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Years of
'cause
practice,
you're
man.
not doing it, like
Years of practice.
But like we were like going back and forth, and eventually I just had to take over because like her distraction or ADD like kicked in and was like, I'm ready for the next thing. But like we got a lot done together where we were half and half in it the whole time.
Yeah.
And then eventually I was like, I'm just going to take over and like finish it.
And that's, growing up was something my sister and I did a lot. We would get a Lego set for Christmas or our birthdays or whatever, and we'd spend time putting it together, taking turns, doing a page each or something like that, kind of forced you to share in the building process. Of course, I would probably get mad and then end up taking over because she was too slow or she didn't care. And then all of a sudden I had built all the Lego sets.
Yeah.
But, whatever. It's fine. I think Lego was super cool. But there's another kind of building toy that I played a lot more with. I don't know if you guys had it all. Did you have Playmobil?
No.
It sounds familiar.
It does sound familiar.
It was like a German based brand. And it was like you would have these figures.
Connects?
Yeah, I had Connects too, but not
Yeah.
Connects.
Magnetics had it.
Yeah. Playmobil is like, it had like figures, like people, And then they'd
Okay.
have like accessories, like, and it would be like, here's the Wild West, here's the Cowboys and Indians kind of
Yes,
thing.
they were
And then,
rounder.
yeah,
Yeah. They were
and then you could have like, you know, the
for
city.
younger kids than Legos, right?
Not necessarily. It was the same
Okay.
age group.
Okay.
And then you could have like, you know, like the city, and you have like a house. You could
Yeah.
have like, you know, the police station or the grocery store, whatever the hell you wanted. And then there was like knights and dragons and, you know,
Yes,
all this shit.
Yes, yeah.
And I had, and I still have, because it was all at my parents' house. We have probably hundreds of dollars invested in those damn things.
Yeah.
And my sister and I, we played with those things for years. I remember just like spreading out in our basement and just making an entire like town out of these. And like just like Legos we didn't have a lot of. We had enough to like build stuff, but this was like you could make like over here is the house and over here is the forest and over here is like whatever. You could have like a whole spread.
Yeah.
You could have a whole city. And that's like we spend a lot of time with that specific play sets, like, you know. So I like that one a lot because you had all these different things that these different characters could use or whatever, and you could, you know, make up a story and like whatever. And my sister and I sunk a ton of time into Playmobil. So that's probably right behind Lego as like one of my favorite toys growing up.
Right on. You guys, did you have any RC cars growing up?
Yeah.
All the time, yeah.
Yeah.
What was your number one RC car, Tony?
I don't know. I had a few of those like little tiny ones that were pretty cool. I forget what they were called. Zip racers or something, I don't know. And then I actually had some full size ones that were badass.
What was the full size one that you remember?
Like monster trucks.
No, it wasn't a monster truck. It was just like a little like if you imagined an RC car, that's what it would be.
Oh, okay.
I remember one that I had. I think it was my only like big RC car, but it was called like the Cobra.
Oh.
And it was this black thing. It was like an SUV, but you could fill it up with water, and there was a button to press that like a cobra would pop out of the top of the RC car and spit water at you.
It was crazy.
Dude, it was insane. I loved it.
I had my sister and I had somebody got us for Christmas one year RC cars, but they were punch buggies. She had
cool.
a red one and I had a blue one, and it was like not the old punch buggies, but like the newer
Yeah.
model. So those were fun. I tried to like take them around the backyard, but you know they didn't have that much clearance or anything,
Yeah,
so they were getting
exactly.
caught in shit, and I had to keep it on the driveway.
Exactly. Do we want to read what other people wrote?
Yeah, I know
Shortly.
we were kind of touching on that. I was gonna say
Kind
like,
of touching. There's some toys that we didn't mention. Chronicles of a Gamer. He just started a podcast himself that's pretty good called
Good on you,
Bobby's
man.
World.
good on you.
He says, I had the entire toy line of Masters of the Universe, Batman the Animated Series, and the early 90s X-Men, which I definitely had 90s X-Men toys.
I think I had a couple Batmans sprinkled in and a Catwoman or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any X-Men, though. I didn't really have a lot of the superhero figures growing up. I can read the next one.
Sure.
We got Lit Gaming Arena, who was telling us about how he had Bop It.
Yo, Bop It was it.
I literally played my Bop It the other day.
So Bop It, there was three things. Is Bop It, twist it, turn it,
pull it.
pull it.
Pew.
And then they made one later that had 5 things.
Well, okay, so they did Bop It. Bop It did so well that they did Bop It Extreme or Bop It Deluxe or something like that, and it was 5 things. And then they had Top It, which I had, which was like involving a ball, and you would have to flip between like catching it like flat or catching it on the top or flipping it to catch it on the other
that
side.
sounds way too hard.
Yeah, it was difficult. And then I don't remember if they did anything else after that. But Bop It was...
Bop It was fun.
That was definitely a quintessential toy growing up. Also, he said ton of Micro Machines and Hot Wheels, which I agree. I had my fair share of Hot Wheels, actually.
Hot Wheels were great. Did any of you guys play with like the tracks for Hot Wheels?
I never had a track.
I still have a full
Do you?
box of Hot Wheels. Yeah.
Damn.
Do you have the tracks and stuff?
No, I don't have the tracks,
okay.
but I mean I did have them, but yeah, don't
Dude,
really
let's go
count
through
as
the Hot Wheels if you want to sell them.
All right.
I used to
Or
make
if you
my
wanna
own
play with them,
tracks.
I'm
No,
down.
they're just sitting in a box in my
He's
dad's
he's
basement.
down to race.
Probably old. They're in an old Coors Light box in my dad's basement, I think.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I used to make my own tracks out of cardboard through like my my living room.
Yeah.
That's how I do it. Or like when we had Christmas and they'd get like the train out underneath the tree
Oh, yeah.
and we'd put it on this like little wooden piece. Like I'd make like we'd put like the houses and shit up around the train tracks. I'd put like my little Hot Wheels around and pretend to
Yeah, I
drive them
like
around.
that.
So I had a fair share of Hot Wheels too, actually, and I really liked those. And then he said for creativity, I had Erector, K'NEX, and Lego. I never had Erector.
That sounds like a sex toy.
Erector? I didn't even know her.
Your face.
No, I didn't have Erector, but I had played with it before, and then I had
Yeah.
a little bit of K'NEX, and we did talk
Connects I
about.
definitely had. You could buy Connects at Rite Aid and like these little packs.
Yeah, I had like a
They
couple
weren't
little
good.
packs.
They
They
weren't
weren't
that
as
great,
they
no.
weren't as good.
I would
no.
rather have a Lego any day.
I think that the ones that were big, like the one that was like the big Ferris wheel and stuff, that
Yeah,
looked cool, and
it
I
looked
think it would be
cool,
fun to
but
make.
no.
But I just had the little sets, and they just weren't the same.
Ain't nobody got room for that.
You want to read?
Tony, you reading any or you want me to?
Yeah, Unsealed Games says he had a bunch of old Soviet toys, which is kind of interesting. Old school
yeah, so he grew up in
trucks,
Russia, yeah.
guns,
Yeah,
and
bottles of vodka. No,
I
I'm
think
just
that's
kidding.
pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. I bet that
yeah,
was
it's different, being
I'd
from a
love to
different
hear more
country and
about
stuff.
different countries, like what Lego was everywhere and stuff like that. But like
It wasn't in Soviet Russia.
well, he said it was. He said
Oh.
Lego. Oh no, he said
Engineering
AKA
Lego,
engine.
yeah.
I misread, but yeah, I'd love to hear like if you grew up somewhere else, what was your childhood toy like? That's super cool to know. Like what was popular somewhere else.
Schnoo 3030 says Boglins. Oh, and the talking Mickey Mouse and Teddy Ruxpin dolls.
Teddy Ruxpin is terrifying.
With a tape deck in their butts. The mouth would move along to any voice if it was close to the character's voice. A friend of mine took his little sister's and used it as an auction tape deck in his car. Pretty funny seeing Mickey Mouse rap along to Eazy-E, Capsella, anyone? Food Fighters, which I remember Food Fighters. They were like almost like McDonald's looking toys where it was like a hamburger with a face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Barnyard Commandos, Space Pets, Stretch Armstrong, Vac Man, and the Vac Pack. Wacky Wall Walkers, which I remember those, Stompers, and GoBots.
Yeah.
I think he's a little older than me, so those were like more like 80s toys.
Yeah. We did talk about how
My wife just texted me and she said Barbie dolls and Bratz toys I disfigured. That's a little weird. Thanks for texting me, babe.
Who didn't do that?
My
I
wife.
didn't. No,
She
he
didn't
said
disfigure
No,
them?
she
She
just
did.
texted me being like,
I know.
no.
what
He
she
said
said.
who
I'm
didn't.
saying
who
Who
didn't
didn't
do that?
disfigure?
Yeah.
I didn't disfigure mine.
Really?
No,
I disfigured my sister's.
Well, that's a
well,
different
that
story.
makes sense. I feel
So
like
there
more
was
so.
a Barbie doll I got at some point in time that you were like supposed to like be able to cut her hair and like put makeup on her, and I was like, no, I don't want to mess this up.
Yeah.
I was really nice to all of my toys because I don't know if it's like genetic or whatever, but like I was always taught to take care of your stuff,
You're
and
pretty how you are.
no, I was like taught like take care of your shit and it'll last you a long
absolutely.
time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I'm not going to fuck up my toys because I love these and I want to keep playing with them. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't like, screw them up in any way. Even like cutting hair and stuff like that. I wasn't into that. I didn't want to destroy them.
Wait, Kayla says it was very normal.
No, it was normal.
You cut their hair, colored them, ripped their heads off, and put new heads on. Duh. Maybe don't
Okay.
say that. Ha. Up.
Oop.
All right.
No, I did swap doll heads a couple times,
Yeah.
but I mean, that was an easy thing. You could take the Barbie head off
I
and
like
swap
that my
it.
wife's on this, but she's downstairs.
Shout out
she
to
just
you.
texted me, you suck ass. All right. Circus of Value.
Circus of Value. He said Battle Beasts were the best toys of the 80s and 90s. I kind of remember Battle Beasts a little
I
bit.
do too.
I don't I never had any, but I kind of remember them. Were
think
they
a
like
neighbor of
super
mine-
small?
Yeah, no, they were like very like sort of plain colors, like 3 to 4 colors. They might have had movable arms, but you know, you had like a mouse or like a rat or
Oh,
like
you know what?
a
I remember. Okay.
warthog or
I got
something
you.
that were also anamorphic, you know, like human
Yes.
bodies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember now. Yeah, I was thinking of something else. Cool. Tony, you want to read V Pixels?
Yeah, I thought we already went over.
Oh, no,
most of
she
this
said a
stuff,
couple
but,
other
My
ones.
Little Pony.
Yes.
She mentioned Pound Puppies.
Yep.
Easy Bake Oven. That was pretty dope, I guess.
Yeah, easy bake ovens where it's at.
I had like one My Little Pony, one or two, and then I had an Easy Bake Oven. That was good. I also had the Snoopy Snow Cone Maker.
Oh, I remember that.
Those were good.
Yeah.
I love those. And then yeah, I think Pound Puppies. I think I had one or two, because again, I was all about like, you know, wanting my own
Puppies.
dog.
Had the teeth?
No, they were like the really sad looking dogs that
Oh.
were kind of flat.
That's sad.
Yeah, but they were cute though. That was the thing.
And then my boy, the retro gamer, says, "Great question for me. It was always my video games, but to name a few, I love my Masters of the Universe guys, Lego, Voltron, Ghostbusters, especially the Slime and Transformers."
Yeah, good stuff.
He just got a flag the other day for taking a picture. Let me show this to you guys. He took a picture of an Atari joystick up his butt.
What?
Look at this.
Oh my god.
Look at this.
Man. Like,
Like,
I love y'all, but let's find some new hobbies.
yeah, he definitely has a joystick rammed up his butt.
Oh my god.
It's not like,
How much Lysol did you have to use to clean
I
that
don't
thing
know,
off?
but it got banned, and they're about to ban his account
Oh
for
man.
taking nude perverted photos.
Dang.
But either way,
It's funny though. I'll give
it
you
is
that.
funny.
I'll give
It's
you
good.
that.
I had to screenshot it because I knew it was going to get flagged.
That's funny. But yeah, I mean, and the only other thing we didn't mention, which is what's in my hand right now, is my koosh ball.
Koosh balls are cool. Same with Slinkies.
Slinkies and koosh balls.
And you know what else we didn't mention that I wanted to? Tech decks.
Dude.
Tech decks. They had the little thumb guys. Do you guys remember
Thumbs. What were they called? Thumb.
Yeah, there's a whole. Like,
There
we
was
could
a whole
literally
name
do
of
this
them.
for a whole season.
Oh God,
I'm
I know.
down.
But I mean, Beanie Babies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything.
I had
And
a
then
ton
all
of
the
Beanie
Tech
Babies.
decks though were so cool. For
I had
its time.
Pokemon
Yeah,
tech
and they had
decks.
the little BMX bikes
That's weird.
too.
No, I mean
I'm
it
about
was.
to get a tech deck. Honestly,
Let's do some kickflips.
I think a kickflip is actually probably the hardest thing to do on a tech deck.
No, I remember with my
But a
tech
pop
decks.
shove it all day.
I would just make them like go up
Yeah.
and down over my shit in my room all day long.
grind on your desk. Yeah.
Yep, running my clock radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I had tech decks, but they weren't like official tech decks. They were Pokemon. I had like a Psyduck one, and like I think it was Clefairy.
Psyduck.
Yeah, my Pokemon figures actually were a huge toy. Like those Tomy Pokemon figures.
Yeah.
I played with those a lot
Yeah,
growing
I
up.
had a few of those.
Yeah, so those I guess would be another huge, toy category for
Yeah.
me as well.
There's a
growing
lot
up.
of toys out there that we played with.
Oh my god,
Like,
I probably didn't even scratch the surface.
when I brought this up to you guys, I probably had like a list of 5, and now I have like a list of like 25.
I'm gonna think of about 17 more on my drive home.
And that's fine. And I want other people, our listeners, to, tell us more about the ones that we missed that, you thought about that you didn't mention to us before, or we forgot to read out whatever you said
or
to
just
us.
like whatever,
Yeah.
just tell us your toys, because that's
Tell
something
us-
super cool.
I would love to know if you guys like this type of podcast too, where we talk about nostalgic things more so than video game stuff too, because
Just
I'm down
throw
to
it in.
Yeah, down
Break
to change
up-
it up a little
break
bit.
it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think the toys you played with definitely is like an impact on who you are, kind of thing. Like how you
Yes.
play, what video games you played when you were a kid definitely impacts how you play today, kind of thing, or like what you were into. So, and there
That's
were
why
so many.
Katamari is my favorite game. I just fucking rolled up all my toys into one ball. Just rolled them all up. Just
All
like,
right,
fuck
guys, it's time.
it. Yeah.
All of my GI Joes in one giant ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just stuck everything to my koosh ball and just push it around.
Thank you for bringing the koosh ball, by the way.
You know what? It sits on my desk every day, and I occasionally just run it through my fingers and then put it back. It's just
You feel good.
it's a nice like a
Stress
nostalgic feeling,
Brings you back to
Figure-
the 90s.
like an actual feeling. Yeah, because I can remember playing
That's
koosh.
an actual feeling.
Like an actual feeling,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're feeling it in your fingers.
Yeah.
I remember playing koosh ball basketball in my friend's basement.
Cool.
That's the smell of the koosh ball alone, man. That rubbery smell brings
Yes.
you back.
It does. Well, thank you guys for listening to this episode of Precisely. Please like, follow, subscribe, and write us a nice review on Apple Podcasts or Podchasers. We're talking about doing a giveaway here soon for reviews. So get your reviews in, because we might just do like a little secret giveaway to one of the nicest reviews out there on Apple Podcasts. Just make sure that you sign it with your IG name or personal name. Let us know that you did it, because we're looking, and we appreciate that. It makes other people, strangers that haven't listened to the podcast yet, find us with your review.
Yeah, tell a friend. Go
Yeah.
out and
Tell
mention
your
it.
mom.
Tell your mom. Tell your mom's friend.
Yep.
I met a lot of cool people the last weekend. I met a lot of cool people at a different meetup, unrelated to this podcast, but for another podcast I listened to. And I said, oh yeah, I have my own podcast, and I don't know if anybody here is interested in video games and beer, but that's what it's about. And, sure enough, a couple people were like, oh yeah, definitely want to check that out, kind of thing, so if you have anybody that's interested in that,
Let them know.
send them our way. Send them to precisely.live.
Yep, that's
Have
our
'em-
website,
have 'em listen.
precisely.live.
Check out our bios. I'm actually working on a blog post as the inspiration strikes. I
And
have
I
one about
have-
halfway done.
I have something coming up too that I'm gonna be talking to your fiance about here shortly, about something that I want to put on the website that isn't on any other website.
What?
So once I get it written down, I will tell you guys more about it. But I want to have more things tangible on paper before I talk about it.
Yeah, a lot of cool things coming down
Yeah.
the Precisely pipe this year.
Yeah, but that's about it, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. Play with your toys if you still have them, and if not, just go on eBay and look how expensive they are right now.
Isn't that true?
Well, have a good night, everyone. We out.
We out.
We out.